What's up, y'all? I am back for another video. I was supposed to review Suburban Commando today. That was supposed to be my original review today, but I'll be honest, guys. I was sick all fucking day. I think I had food poisoning. Whatever I ate last night just got me. I was in bed, nauseous and shit all day. So I didn't even really get a chance to watch it. So, and I don't want to just not do another video. So I figured I'm going to talk about a movie I reviewed today. Um, Today I am reviewing Boy Kills World. The plan is for the rest of the week. I found a theater that's playing The Fall Guy kind of early tomorrow. Like I don't have to wait till like fucking 5. So I found a theater that's actually playing it a bit earlier, so I was actually able to watch it. I'll be able to watch it earlier tomorrow, so I'll be reviewing that. Probably, maybe it might be the same time tomorrow night. We'll see. Um, Either that, or I'll maybe even try to just review it when I get home. We'll see, depending on what time I get home. But so I'll be reviewing that tomorrow. Friday, I'm gonna break down and just finally review The Covenant. You know, I've been kind of supposed to be reviewing it, so I'm gonna finally break down and reviewing that on Friday. Saturday, it's gonna have to be early because I'm gonna be watching a pay-per-view Saturday evening, and I don't know if I want to do a video after. We'll see. I will be reviewing. I think I'm gonna break down and review The Late Night with the Devil. I'll probably try to watch it sometime Friday, though. I'll probably try to watch it Friday and then just review it Saturday. And then, yeah, probably more than likely, yeah. Friday night, we'll probably watch Late Night with the Devil. And then, like, Saturday afternoon or something, I'll review, or in the morning, we'll review Late Night with the Devil. And then Sunday, since Abigail's finally on the seas, I am gonna be able to watch it again because I don't want to go. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really want to go to the theater and see it. It was good, but I didn't think it was that good. I need to go to the theater and see it again. So I was waiting till it got on the seas. So we're gonna review that on Sunday. Is the plan. So that's the plan for the remainder of the week. So, anyways, Boy Kills World. I remember seeing the trailer for this like a couple months ago and being like, oh, okay, this looks kind of interesting. And basically what I got from the premise was the main character, Boy, he doesn't really have a name. It's Bill Skarsgård. I think that even in the plot, he's just called Boy. Wants revenge for the slaughter of his family. And the Vanderkoys killed them. And he wants revenge on them. And the shaman is training him, which the shaman, you might recognize, he's the dude from the raid. The bad guy from the raid. And I love how over the top it is. That's pretty much what this movie is. It's an over the top revenge story, and I mean a little bit of a revenge story because there's a little bit of a reveal in the end, like where it turns out that the main Vanderkoy. Hold on, I'll look up because it's Famke Jensen. Hilda Vanderkoy turns out is Boy's mom. And the girl in basically in the pink motorcycle outfit turns out is Boy's sister. So, pretty fun movie. June 27, that's Jessica Roth's character, which that's the one that's revealed to be his sister. But yeah, so pretty much. But at the start of it, you're led to believe the shaman trained him, found him, and wants to train him to get revenge on the Vanderkoys. But we find out the shaman's actually a bad guy too. And this movie is just very violent. It's also pretty funny, like because there's other characters Boy meets throughout. Like he almost has like a little team with him. Because there's like a group of the resistance who are resisting the Vanderkoys who run this. It kind of it's like almost when I mean Hunger Games, it's in the sense the way the Vanderkoys dress. They're very over the top, and extravagant. But yeah, it's a fun movie. It knows what it is. I think Bill Skarsgård is great. And I actually think John Benjamin is probably my favorite part of the entire movie. I love him narrating. And when I was watching this, I was thinking about, I don't know if y'all remember the movie Silent Night that came out last year, late last year. This one made me think maybe that movie should have had like an inner monologue with Joel Kinnaman's character. Like they should have did that because the the inner monologue in this works. You know, I'm not saying it needs to be every scene because I get what Silent Night was trying to do. They were trying to have it be silent, but I think it would have worked better with maybe some scenes of an inner monologue because I think the way it conveys is perfect. Like anytime he speaks, it's because he remembers the voice from a TV show he used to watch as a kid. So that's the only reason he remembers the voice, and that's why the voice is basically his inner monologue. That's how it works. The action is great. They don't hold back on the gore either. It's pretty violent, even for like an action movie. Like there's a scene where one of the Vanderkoys granted it was done a bit more for comedy, but one of the Vanderkoys, eventually agrees to work with them, but the guy accidentally drops the weight and it like crushes his face in, and it's like God, like this movie does not hold back. And the final fight, holy shit, it gave me Raid vibes because if you remember the final fight in the Raid where the villain was like just taking on both the main character and his brother. It was reminiscent of that because it was him and his sister. At this point, it was revealed they had just killed Hilda Vanderkoy, and the shaman tries to order the boy to kill his sister. He doesn't, and then they both team up to fight him. And man, very hard hitting final fight. Like there's some parts where it's just like, oh, like there's a scene where the shaman uses like a blade and like cuts like boy's leg, and it's like rough to watch. Even as someone who like I can usually handle gore and stuff, but it was like some of the things was just like, yeah, it's an all around dope movie. It is probably it might be tied with Beekeeper and so far anyway. Obviously things could change. I'm going to see Fall Guy tomorrow. Who knows? That might be becoming my favorite movie of the year, but for right now, it is tied with The Beekeeper as probably my favorite movie this year. I've really enjoyed it. There's a scene where the boy, like in one of the scenes, because he's about to be executed, but he gets broken out. So he like him and in his resistance scene just start taking out a bunch of the guys. And he gets basically a brass knuckle gun. Like when he punches, because there's like a gun on top, so he punches people, it like shoots them. It is just like shit like that. It's just so creative. It is the way they just was creative about everything. And the villains, the Vanderkoys, are not sympathetic. They're not sympathetic one bit. They're straight up bad guys. Not like, oh, they have a sympathetic reason for doing the things they know. They are straight up evil. And that is what I like, you know? Like, it's just nice to have villains who are just villains. Not this sympathetic bullshit. I'm not saying you can never have sympathetic villains, but it has been done to death. That's why sometimes it's just nice to see a bad guy who is just unapologetically evil sometimes. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, people could try to say that's like one note, but there's nothing wrong with. There are people like it's. I think it's a little bit of a. I think it's a societal issue where people sometimes just don't want to acknowledge that there are people who are just evil, not because they always want to make it like, oh, it's something that made them that way, that drove them that way. No, there are just people who are evil, who just do bad things just to do bad things. I get it. You don't want to acknowledge it. It's a scary reality. I get it. Something you don't want to admit, but it is a reality. There are people who are just bad just because, not because society made them something in their home life made them. No, there's not always the case. There are just bad people. You know, I wish Hollywood would just show that sometimes. Not every villain you want to run by is sympathetic. It's also just a tired trope. I love me a good bad guy, and I sometimes just want to see a good bad guy. And I'm not saying the bad guy in this was great, but it was very much an awesome movie. So out of 10, I'd probably give this movie like a 9, maybe even a little bit over 9. Not 9.5, but like maybe like a 9.3 or something like that. Because I really enjoyed this. I loved how balls to the wall it is. Just kind of a straightforward movie, nothing more, nothing less. So Bill Skarsgård is great. And what's unfortunate is he's going to be involved in probably one of my favorite movies of the year. He's also going to probably, more than likely, be involved in my worst movie of the year, which is going to be the Crow reboot. I'll be shocked if anything else is that, but something tells me the Crow reboot is probably going to be the worst of the year. So anyway. Let's get into Boy Kills World. So, movie starts. We see a young boy, kind of. You get a little bit of like, I guess you want to call it. I don't know. You want to call it a montage or a little bit of like. We get to see boy as a kid, hanging out with his family and his younger sister, Mina, and the city is ruled by the Vanderkoys. So Gideon, Hilda Vanderkoy is the main one. Melanie Vanderkoy, she's a crazy bitch. I'd almost argue she's almost like the real villain because she's the one you see throughout the movie. Because I'll say this, Famke kind of comes in a little bit later, like in terms of actually as a character. It's almost like Melanie and Gideon are the ones you see. Glenn, he's the one who gets his face crushed in. So the Hilda gathers 12 people at once a year every year. It's called the Calling, and basically they kill 12 people. They end up gathering boy. This is what you're led to believe. That the Vanderkoys killed basically the rest of his family minus boy. Boy ends up getting injured but not dead, so he's end up mute and is trained by the shaman. And this is when you see him kind of throughout the years. I love this little montage where you see him grow up as an adult. Like you go through like his training as a kid, and then obviously eventually where he is today. Because he wants to get revenge on the man Vanderkoy. This is where he goes into the city. This is where we see Glenn, who he's in this like fancy suit, going on this fancy speech, and they round up the victims for the Calling. And he ends up injuring somebody because someone heckles him, but he ends up shooting the wrong person. Fight ensues, and boy watches basically the Vanderkoy massacre of the villains. This is where we see June 27th. That's what her code name is. She's in like a helmet, and the boy ends up falling, even though the shaman kind of goes against him going because he doesn't think he's ready yet. So they end up in a warehouse. This is where we probably get our first big like action scene from boy, and he and along with one of the people helps him. It turns out one of the resistance actually is there with him. Basho, I think is the name, is what he's called. I thought he was a pretty fun character. I think that's why this movie works too. You have the inner monologue, but you have other characters talking. So it's not just like Silent Night didn't work because a lot of the other characters weren't talking. So it was. I don't get me wrong, I like that movie for what it was, but I don't think I'm gonna rush to watch it again. To be honest, I think this movie did this concept better, and I think it was smarter to do the inner monologue. I think it works so much better, and plus it's H. John Benjamin. It's fucking entertaining, like some of the way. Also throughout, like he would see a girl who I'm assuming that's supposed to be his sister. Like he would see her in like visions, and she would talk to him and stuff. But she kind of fucks him up because a lot of the time. But yeah, so Basho ends up helping him, and we get a pretty violent fight scene, like pretty brutal. Boy takes out the rest of the guys. They question Glenn. Glenn tells them where Helga is and that she actually wants to join him. But Basho accidentally drops it says on here like a bench press. And he accidentally drops it on Glenn's head, crushing it, which was pretty funny. And then you get a scene where obviously in his inner monologue, boy says like he was gonna join us. It was pretty funny. Like it was like a lot of the humor in this movie worked too, because it's not that cringe humor where a lot of it is. I know you can call it Marvel humor, Disney humor, whatever you want to call it. It actually is like legit funny, but also not over the top where it takes away from the story. Obviously this movie is a bit more on the over the top side, so it's not a super serious movie. It's probably, I would say, is a little bit of a comedy because Gideon Vanderkoy is kind of like he has a little bit of a couple one liners you see throughout the movie. So Basho and takes Boy to meet some of the other um, resistance, and they basically plan an attack. They attack the manor, but Boy ends up fighting June 27th. I'll admit it's a weird name. I didn't even know in the movie they called her that. Boy basically nearly kills her, but he has a moment of weakness, and so it turns out that the culling, Hilga makes it seem like it's done for good reasons, but it's actually obviously innocence. Um, so this is where we see they have a scene where Melanie Vanderkoy kind of talks trash to the guy. Then they take him to the culling, and Hilda makes an appearance. Um, so the boy manages to free himself while a couple other people are starting to be cold. Like you have like all these wacky characters, like a pirate character, some other ones. So turns out that no, there's one in a goat costume, but it turns out the guy in the goat costume is Basho in disguise. So him and Benny, they all take down. I think Benny ends up getting killed though. But Melanie gets killed with a camera. She gets killed pretty brutally. Like she gets like her face crushed with like a camera. Um, they then go to Hilga's bunker. This scene though, before we go into the next one, I really did love this sequence. This was just fun. It was just balls to the wall action. This is where you get to see Boy use I guess you want to call it brass knuckle gun, because it's kind of what it was. Like he would punch people and it would shoot. They didn't hold back on the violence, man. Like they really didn't. Like I love this movie, and it was anyone who tries to say it's like a John Wick ripoff is high, because it's not. This is nowhere near like John Wick, especially with the reveal, which I'm gonna get to later. Um, but the after Boy Basho, who's pretty injured, they then go to Hilda's bunker. So Basho ends up getting killed. Boy found Gideon, because it turns out Gideon he basically, the way the movie set it up, they don't say it, but it's implied that Gideon kind of helped him escape, because he's the one who gave him like the scalpel secretly and was able to find it. So he's the one who kind of basically helped him, because he kind of wanted to fuck over Melanie. He then he still gets killed though. It turns out that we get a reveal. I'll just spoil it now. Hilda is Boy's mom, because he gets in the elevator. Her men basically take him to her, and it turns out she's his mom. Um, and it turns out that he also participated in a lot of the callings, and including one, he ended up killing the shaman's family. And that's where we find out that shaman nearly actually killed Boy, but then decided to take him in. But we also find out he cut out his tongue. He basically tortured the boy. But I was questioning it, because then there's a scene later. Yeah, because it basically, and he psychologically fucks with the boy to basically, that's where we find out that the whole narrative that Mina killed that Hilda Boy's family was a lie. That's where that came in. So, also turns out that June 27th is Mina. So I'm just gonna, for the remainder of the video now, call her Mina at this point. So Mina is revealed to be alive. So it turns out he still can't kind of let it go. So Mina, Hilda orders Mina. So Mina initially kind of gives in, beats him up for a little bit, but then she then turns on Hilda and stabs her. Now reunited, they basically both of them fighting with they escape the bunker and kill basically all of the remaining guards. Pretty dope final fight. And this is where the shaman appears. I'm just gonna just skip to that part. He's proud of Boy, but he wants him to kill his sister. But he refuses, so we get this awesome final fight, which, man, this final fight goes for a bit. And kind of like the Raid one, he kind of whoops both their asses for a lot of it. Like, he is just, like, the fact that, like, this dude, keep in mind, we're 13 years, I would say, since it's, since the Raid. And he's still, the way this dude can still move, and it's like, he's still got it. It was a very hard hitting fight. Like, it was, he whooped both him, even whooped Boy, whooped Mina for a while, and they, he nearly kills his sister, but then Boy comes in. We get a final. This is the part where he's like cutting him in the leg very brutally because he has like a little blade. But then it turns out Boy manages to there's a scene where you see like a hallucination of Boy as a kid, like push the necklace in and it stabs him and kills him. And the movie ends. Basically, they kind of escape the bunker. It's kind of it. Awesome movie. Probably. Oh, there's like a little flashback of them playing the arcade game. So, but yeah, it's a pretty awesome movie. One of my favorite movies of the year. I think Bill Skarsgård was great. H. John Benjamin was great as a voice. He had a fun little team he had with him. I liked Benny and Basho, even though they didn't last long. The villains were fun. That final fight was fucking incredible. Like, that was... I hadn't seen a hard-hitting final fight like that in a long time. Like, goddamn, that was... John Wick. John Wick had some pretty good final fights, but damn, this one was fucking awesome. It was hard-hitting. It was brutal. They did not hold back. And, none of that weird shit. Not once, like, when him and Mina finally team up, they don't do the, like, she's stronger than him kind of shit. They don't do that. They just are team. And the shaman was a great... Because it basically kind of makes it out that they're both bad. Hilda's bad and the shaman's bad. So they're both bad kind of deal. That's kind of what we get the reveal to be. But I definitely think this was good. I just saw it was coming out. I wasn't really expecting much, but it was great. So tomorrow I'm seeing the Fall Guy. I'm hoping that's really good. I've heard some good things about it, so definitely hope I like it. So the plan is I'm gonna try to review it tomorrow night. Spoilers, obviously. I'm not expecting any crazy spoilers. It's gonna be a straightforward story. Like, it seems like him and Emily Blunt, like, I guess they're kind of either estranged or they're broken up, or then they're going to get back together. They're going to beat the bad guy. Like, it's one of those kind of movies. I'm not expecting a crazy reveal or anything like that. Like, it's going to be a straightforward story. So, anyways, I'd give this one a 9.3 out of 10. I really like this movie. I really love it. It was fun. Definitely watch it again. For sure. It's very over the top, but they don't hold back, though. But it's not over the top in, like, a cringy way. It's in a fun way. So, but anyways, guys, I'm going to call it here. Hopefully, Fall Guy is good tomorrow, because I really want that to be good. The trailers have pretty much wowed me. It looks like it's just going to be a fun little action flick. I'm not expecting anything crazy. So... we'll see. And then Planet of the Apes next week, which I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to review the new one, and then probably after, we're going to go back and do, like, Rise, Dawn, and War. We'll go back and do the original. Well, what original? I mean, the newer trilogy. And then down the line, I'll do the older movies. Not all of them, but at least the good ones. Because I don't think I'm gonna have time now to review the. I would do it before, but I don't think I'm gonna have time to do the trilogy before the new one comes out. So I'm just gonna do the new one first, and then we'll just go back and review the trilogy. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm okay with that because it's coming out like next week, and I already got some going on Friday, so I'm just gonna wait till after. All right, y'all. Fall Guy review tomorrow. Spoiler. Friday will be The Covenant. It's my video for the next few days. other than that, not much. I enjoyed this movie. Go Z Boy Kills World. I mean, if you don't, I don't think you have to go to the theater. I would say just either wait till it's on streaming or something like that. But I think you'll like it if you do see it. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna call it here. Peace.